of chairing meetings?
No.
Not a council meeting. Have we got enough for a quorum?
Yeah.
Ian looks keen.
Well, the only thing I've got, I'm having to do this on my mobile, and I'm having to, yeah, I don't have the notes printed because I was hoping to do it on the laptop. I couldn't get in on the laptop. So I'm not sure I've got all the information in front of me without juggling. If that makes sense, it could be quite awkward for me to coordinate it.
Dan, do you?
I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go.
Yep. Okay. Thanks.
Sorry if that sounded lame, but it's just yeah, too many team meetings in various offices, and I have to be owned by somebody. I have to get looking. Yeah.
Okay. Shall I crack on then?
Yep.
Do we need to vote him or second him or anything like that?
Are you all happy with it?
Yeah, no problem.
Then let's go ahead with it.
Okay. So is that agenda item 1 already covered then in terms of
That's all I've received, yeah.
any declarations of interest tonight?
I have, Dan, but I can't remember what one it is. I'm trying to get out the stuff.
Which one, sorry? Just broke up there.
Oh, the cricket.
Okay.
Okay.
Any others? Or are we okay to move on?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Agenda item 2 is chairman to receive any matters arised. You should have told me 3 days ago, apparently. Not that you knew I was the chairman, but did any get sent into Becky for consideration?
Apparently not, no.
I mean, you didn't get mine, Dan. Come on.
Was someone trying to say something there?
I think Clint said something.
No, it's okay. Just carry on.
Okay. Then, Paul, it's your point. Agenda item 3, clerk's update, which you circulated a document for.
Yep. So I sent round basically what I've got to say, but for the purposes of the recording, I'll put it on the screen. Yeah, so the Peter Gooch refurbishment is all done, as you know. CCTV, the latest plan is to get the power from the medical centre, although I expect at the moment they've got more pressing things to worry about, so I haven't heard from them. And I'm not going to chase them again. North Street Plainfield, I think Ian and the office are sorting the hedge out slowly.
Yeah, can I just ask a question on that? Or is that okay? Yeah, all I was going to say, I'm more than happy to make the purchases if you're having a problem with the various websites. It's just a question: do we have approval for the proposed budget for this? I thought we did. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, we made a budget and we agreed on it, didn't we? Or am I wrong?
There is an earmarked reserve of 1,000, but I'm assuming
we're not spending £1,000 on a hedge.
No.
I think we had a quote for something like £450 from the contractor.
Yeah.
I then forced various problems, I think, for Paul actually, but some cheaper options, and I think we can get it done for about the £95 mark. I'm happy to finance it myself. I don't care about that. I'll do that. So I just wanted to make sure, as long as you don't have to then come back to another full council meeting to get approval for that £100 to be spent. I was rather hoping that this had already been sanctioned from that earmarked funds, and that we could just sort of make a decision outside of full council to do that. But does that work for everybody?
Yeah, I think if we just have if Dan calls a vote on it, we can vote on it. Have we got enough people, Paul? If we vote on this as a yes.
You only need 3 people.
Yeah, well, that's fine then. If Dan calls a vote, we'll just get on with it.
Yeah, because I think I'm just keen to sort of get the job done. Really, I think somebody was concerned that it was a kind of a gap in the fence that people might want to exploit, and therefore the sooner we put a hedge in, the better. So I'm happy to get moving on it as quickly as possible. I think we just need to go with it, really, in my view.
I think in principle we'll all be supportive of that. In terms
Yeah.
of Paul, in terms of process, are we okay to?
If for such small amounts, I think we can go ahead. Like the clerk can spend up to 500 quid
Yeah, well, that's,
without council approval.
Yeah, and I think I'd already mentioned that, and we'd already agreed in the full council that could come out of the earmarked £1,000 for the environment budget. So I think we'd
Yeah.
already had sort of a kind of in principle agreement. It was just a question of making sure everyone was happy with the final costs, really. A lot less than the contractor was quoted.
So given that the clerk can spend that money and can approve that, has anyone got any concerns with that if we were to go ahead?
no, I've got none whatsoever.
No, none from me.
Okay,
Good.
then go then.
We can go ahead and do that.
Yes.
The Bund, Scoville has advised to wait, and I think Ian, you are going to look into doing our own maintenance.
My concern with what they're proposing, or what the proposal I've seen is that it looks relatively quite good value for money, actually, to get it seeded, if that makes sense, in March, and have something in place for going forward. It's the maintenance costs that to me looked expensive for what we're proposing. I'm sure everyone agrees with that. Was I correct to think like there's over £2,000 a year from
It was quite a bit.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
a lot for the area concerned? It's just a small bund, really, in effect. So what I was saying was, well, in principle, I could probably arrange for some work parties to just go in, because all it needs doing is cutting 3 times a year and raking up, and we could possibly arrange something within the environmental group to do. Because it just strikes me as that's a lot of money to spend from council funds on a bund.
Okay.
We're in COVID, so I can't get people's approval to do things.
Do you want to have a think about what you could potentially do outside of the council meeting, and then bring the proposal next year?
Yeah, well, I think that's what we're going to do, really.
Yeah.
Cost seems unpalatable to me, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so that's that. Remembrance sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll take an action from this.
Okay. Remembrance Sunday, contrary to what it says here, Martin Davey emailed today or yesterday saying there won't be any service of any kind, which is not surprising.
Shame.
Yeah. The pavilion has a roof leak in the boiler room, and I've already tried to get advanced maintenance to sort this out themselves, but they said unless we can prove it was them that caused the leak, they won't pay for it, and we can't prove it. So Gary's gonna do his thing and fix that. The John Cumber Hall, again, this is out of date. 2 hirers had returned to the hall, but that obviously won't be happening for a bit. And lastly, Jan Crisp is slowly archiving / disposing of the numerous documents in the filing cabinets in the office, and yeah, she's doing a good job.
Good.
We seriously not backed anything up for 37 years in terms of minutes. They're all sitting in the office.
Nope.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Anything else from the clerk's update? Is that done?
No. Are you happy, Jan?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Agenda item 4 then is adopting the minutes. Council meeting the 5th of October. Which will see distributed. Has anyone got any questions or points of accuracy on the minutes?
I didn't.
No, I haven't found anything. There's nothing in there. Everything's okie dokie.
Yeah, no, it's fine with me.
Yep, I didn't have any points to raise. Can I get someone to propose signing off those minutes?
I will.
I'll second.
To Alan.
Yeah.
Is that Stuart and Alan? Are we all good for that then?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to planning applications under agenda 5. First one being timber frame activities building for use at care home at Oakland's 5 the Green. Any initial comments on that?
I didn't see any reason to object.
I mean, that's up by you, isn't it, Ian? So
Yeah, it's a bit further up, but
it's not impeding on anybody at all, is it?
not like
No.
No, I didn't have any concerns. They got quite a lot of ground to put that in, and it seems to be back from the boundaries to some extent as well.
and it's for a good reason, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good, it's providing extra service. So no, I didn't see a reason to object, so to let that one go.
Yeah.
So do we anyone other with any concerns at all?
No.
No, I didn't see any issue
I'm
with
happy
it.
to, no objections for me.
No objections from me.
Okay. So we're proposing to put a no objection for that.
Yep.
Do we need to have a vote for that? Or a proposer?
No, that's fine.
No? Okay. Okay, so the next one was the telecommunications mast on Brunel Road, down by the station, installation of new 20-metre column supporting 6 antennas. So this, I understood, was replacing one that was already there. It was already a 17-metre mast, I think it was.
Yeah. So
Which you,
it's just gone up a little bit higher. I mean, there was one already there, so I don't think it's just like for like, isn't it?
yeah, I think the location of it is potentially less controversial than if it was in the middle of the high street or something like that.
That's it. Yeah, it's not going to be in vision, except for when you're down that end. But I don't think it's going to. I can't see it's going to cause any problems.
Yeah, I felt that as well.
Anyone with any alternative views, or are we all?
No,
No objections.
it's replacing one's just about 3 metres higher, so
Yeah.
not a problem.
Okay, also I think we're happy to put no objections on that, mainly due to the location. In fact, it's replacing the existing mast that's already there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was it for actually the ones we needed to review.
And then there are 2 which
Been
were
approved.
received since in a second email.
All right. Okay. I missed those, Paul. Can you
Hold on 2
those
seconds.
documents you can take us through?
I'll get them up on the screen.
Okay.
Sorry, bear with me.
Sure.
So this is the first one.
Non-material amendment. Okay. Green. anyone got any thoughts on that one? Given it's a non-material amendment to one that's already been approved, I think we'd have to have a very specific reason to be able to object to it.
Did we not see that last month, or have they changed something?
Well, it only came in since I sent out the agenda, so I doubt they've sent the same thing twice.
All right.
Let me have a look.
I might be wrong. It just looks familiar.
I think we've seen something like it before.
Yeah, there've been numerous amendments, haven't there, to the
Continuously being tweaked. This was
North
another.
Lakeside development. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same development last.
It was access last time, wasn't it?
And this,
Yeah.
this as
Yeah.
well. Another slight change to it. It's a difficult one because we previously submitted memory objections to this development, haven't we? But not necessarily around this specific change. So when it's something of this nature, I think Dan's right. You have to be quite specific about what you're commenting on.
Yeah, so unless anyone has anything specific to this amendment, I think it might be best if we had a no objection rather than a support or object.
Yeah.
Those are our only three options, aren't they, Paul? No objection, support or object?
Yeah. Well, they are, but if you needed more time to consider it, that's an option.
Okay.
Did you receive this? The rest of you, did you receive the email with this?
This only came. I only got access to this, I think, over the weekend. I haven't had a great deal of time to scrutinise exactly this.
Okay.
My personal preference would be to have more time possible on this particular one, on the grounds that I think it's quite a precise and very small change. Otherwise, we may not be doing it full justice. That's my view.
I got on, but I didn't really take much notice of it because I thought it was the one we had before, because it keeps saying about they're seeking a change to the access again. At the very bottom, that's why I didn't bother looking at it, because I thought we'd already done it.
Okay, so we've got till the 18th of November to submit comments. Do we want to then reserve this one, allow us to have a bit more time to look at it, and then send comments to the clerk?
I just had a better look. What we received in the last meeting was that the amendments from here onwards have been added for this month.
I mean, for me, it almost probably doesn't warrant another meeting to be held just to discuss this change to a very small part of the application. So is there a way of doing this and us submitting comments to you, Paul, outside of this meeting? Do we have the course for that action?
I suppose the difficulty is if one person comes back with an objection, we need to get a full council view on that.
And the idea of this meeting is it's meant to be completely transparent, so any member of the public can see what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. But, okay, so it can't be done outside, but it doesn't warrant, in my opinion, holding another meeting unless there's some radical change there that someone has a particular issue. But I don't think there is that.
You could always delay it till the December meeting. I know it says 18th of November, but it's always later than that.
Well, I think that would be my preference to do personally. It did come in, to be fair, quite late, so it's quite hard to chew through all the subtle changes sometimes on a planning application like this.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm happy if we do that. Gives us more time to have a
Delayed
look.
to December. I can email the planning office and just let them know.
Yeah.
I mean, it might even be one where you might like to. Some members might like to go and visit this site, but they haven't really had much time to perhaps consider that. You know what I mean? So I haven't been over there to have a look at it, subject to the change. But
Okay, I can do that.
yeah.
And bear with me. This is the other one.
Same area. Is this got a similar response time? Oh yeah, by the 18th.
Same.
Yeah.
Do you want to deal with this in the same way, or people feel they've had sufficient time to look at
No,
it?
for me, it amounts to the same. Again,
Yeah.
I think the same principle applies to this one. I think it needs a little bit more consideration. It can be awkward when these things land quite late, I say it. But,
What I would say, if people do take some more time to look, if they do find something that's clearly objectionable, maybe they could share that with councillors offline as well. So we'd be well prepared for the next meeting.
Mm. Do you want to do the same with that then?
Yeah.
I think so. Any objections to that approach?
No, no objections.
No, not from me.
Okay. Is that it then, Paul, for
Yes.
planning? Okay, great. So
Oh,
agenda
sorry.
item 6 was planning decisions for the parish since the last council meeting. So we had 10 Church Street was refused. Second one, Total Park Station Road application for approval details reserved was approved. And 38 High Street approved as well. Any comments or anything arising from those from anyone?
No, no.
No, not from me.
Okey-doke.
There's just one more, sorry. That's 20/01980/house, which is a rear single-story conservatory at Willow's End, 22B Blossom Lane, and that has been approved.
Okay.
Thanks.
Am I good to move on to number 7?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So authorising payments on the schedule. There was an amended schedule sent around 560 with the papers.
Yeah.
Any questions or concerns before we pay those bills?
No, I didn't see any
No,
issue.
didn't see-
No, nothing for me on that.
Yeah, there's nothing I wanted to raise. Is anyone wanting to propose we pay those bills?
Yeah, I propose.
I'll second.
And
That was Clint and Katie were Colin, I think.
Okey-doke.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 8 to receive the completed section 3 of the annual governance and accountability return for the year?
This is literally just for your information.
I was going to ask.
You don't have to make any decision or anything.
No.
Okay. Did anyone have any questions on that
No.
before we move on? Okay. Agenda item 9 is then to agree priority order of council projects for the next financial year. The earmark reserves sent round.
This is quite a big item.
Yeah.
And it's obviously completely up to you as councillors. You may wish to, if you want, defer this until the December meeting.
I think this is something where I feel that we benefit from full council. I think there's, I think something of the magnitude of this probably warrants more than perhaps half the council's presence.
Yeah.
What I would suggest, though, is that we perhaps try and get input prior to the next meeting. We are going ahead with it in terms of perhaps being able to come to this meeting with something a little bit more, dare I say it, fleshed out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we're in any position to be making decisions on projects. I think I was going to propose we have a number of more informal meetings to even discuss what it is that we're trying to deliver and achieve. Unless you've got some sort of feasibility for each of these projects and understanding of what they might cost, it's very hard to make decisions on
No,
what it is we're going to be delivering. And
has this been put on there because there's a general feeling, and dare I say it, I share this feeling, I'm sure we all do, that as a council, there's certain things we all want to get moving on and haven't for various reasons. Now, for example, we've talked for a long time about updating play equipment, getting that floodlight on the foot pitch, etc. And there was supposed to be a whole scheme of work in a certain order. So the plan to get the gooch rooms renovated and done, that's been done. Great. I thought the next step was to try and get electricity to that sort of training pitch, and then get CCTV, and then start to think about updating the facilities in the park without the risk of being sort of vandalised. Is that still loosely the plan?
that is a plan that has been discussed at some point. I don't know if it is the plan.
As far as I know, there's been no council decision on this. This item has been requested by a couple of councillors, and I believe they've been under a bit of pressure from members of the public.
Yeah.
But without knowing the cost, so like doing the playground, we've already said that, but we haven't done any work to understand what that even costs in terms of budget. Does that rule, if we were to do that, does that blow out the budget for everything else? We've had discussions about maybe putting a mugger in place. What are the cost implications of that?
The mugger was, I have looked into the mugger, and I had a quote come back, which I told Paul about, which is way over the top. It's not affordable for us unless we had someone else putting money into it. You're talking 180,000.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I know there's other people maybe looking at 4G pitches.
That's absolutely everything in there. That's tennis courts, football pitches, floodlights, the whole kibosh is done all the way through. But 180, that's a lot of money.
So yeah, for me, to be able to plan these out and decide what we want to do, we need to have at least some idea of feasibility of each of them.
I'm quite happy to take on looking into play equipment and getting some ideas and costings together, just so we can have a look at those. You want me to?
Yeah. There's also if we're going to be committing such significant money, we should be doing some consultation with the local parishioners as to what it is that they want delivered. Having ideas. But there needs to be a little bit of structure in terms of what we got to spend. Do we know what our fundraising potential for getting grants is to make some of this realistic?
There's a few things to think about. One of them is this is going to affect next year's budget, obviously quite a bit, if you choose to do any of these ideas. And that budget needs to be decided. Well, the council will decide it at the end of January, which isn't far away.
Yeah.
The second is you suggest getting quotes for things such as a playground or whatever. I think before we do that, or at least the office needs some kind of idea of what these possible projects are. Lots of people have ideas, but at least from the office point of view, we aren't quite sure, what people are suggesting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting getting quotes. I was just suggesting looking into, how much these things cost, and just starting to get some more information more than play equipment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what is it you get? What does it get for 20 grand? What's it you get for 50 grand? What do you get for 100 grand? Just give us an idea.
And I agree with you, Dan, about the parishioners. We need to talk to people, and I mean, I talk to parents at the park all the time because I use it with my kids, and I have a vague idea of some of the things I think people would like, but we could do surveys or something out to people to try and just listen to what they want, basically.
Good luck. It's not the best time to be doing that.
No, I'm not saying we do it now. I'm just putting it out there that that's what we need to do when we do it.
Something of this magnitude. So, for example, redesigning and redefining the facilities we provide on parish council land, which is basically, I guess, the rec in this case, rather than perhaps North Street playing fields, is significant. And no disrespect to any members of the council, is this something that you would ordinarily have parish councillors sorting out from beginning to end, or would they engage a company to come up with it for them, a professional company to come and size these things and look at options? I would imagine the latter, personally. We can come up with a wish list, we can try and engage with the public, albeit in the COVID situation, not particularly a great time to do these things. But I just can't help but feel we may need some professional guidance with this and input to tell us what the art of the possible is, and then get prices. That's something we should consider. Stunned silence.
You're frozen in a funny position, that's why.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're not frozen anymore.
Did anyone hear what I said? Is that just...
Yeah, we heard you. Yeah, just your face just froze.
I heard some of it, not all of it. You were breaking up.
Okay, apologies.
It's all right.
There are items on there like the older person's project. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, what is that?
What the options are on that.
Well, if anybody does know, let me know.
Older.
The old project.
All I can work out is that there is a bequest for 20 grand from Charles Bateman, ex-chairman, and that was for children's play equipment, outdoor seating, and an older person's gym. But as you can see on my notes on the earmarks requests, it seems a bit odd that there are two items there, which one's for 8,000 and another's for 12,000, and they both add up to 20,000, which is also what a separate earmark reserve is. I might be wrong, but I suspect the council's actually set aside 40,000 for the same thing, which is not a bad thing, really.
I think what Dan said at the beginning about or maybe Ian, I think it was Ian that said it, we should probably talk about it more as a full council, but in terms of what we can do at the moment, it's a bit tricky, isn't it?
I think we should talk about it as full council, but I do also think we need to consider trying to engage. There must be an organisation or a company or somebody who can help tell us what we could do, what the options could be with that land, rather than us go off getting quotes willy-nilly from various places on an ad hoc basis. If we were to engage and speak to somebody like Mortimer Parish Council, say, look, how did you come about with what you have on your land? What did you do? Who did you get to do it? How did you approach it? That might help us. I'll be honest with you, this isn't going anywhere until we get some, I think, probably professional guidance with it. We can't go off on our own and redesign our park.
No.
Facilities. We don't have the experience, we don't have the know-how, we don't have an idea of what we're doing in that regard.
Yeah, I think we need to have an idea of what it is that we're trying to deliver. I think you can't just go to Parish and say, "Can you just tell us what we can do?" They're gonna, unless we've got an idea of what it is you want to have delivered.
100%. You can have a wish list, but that's just going to be exactly that. They might, but then we need somebody to come along and tell us, "Well, you haven't got the is outside of your budget. This won't work because of this reasons, etc." It's all well and good us having a list, but you need somebody to tell us almost what's viable really, and what the options are.
Well, I think one of the things we've actually got to get started on is these lights. They've been going on for God knows how long. We have got to get those floodlights back up and working. We've got the money for them, and we've been going, how long now? 2, 3, 4 years?
And West Allen.
Getting done, and nothing's happening.
But is the stumbling block with SSE? Is that right? That's
yeah. It'll be costly to replace. You don't really want to rush into something like that if another plan is to put a mugger in that patch, and a mugger could have floodlights built into it.
Well, yeah, that price that I gave you was floodlights and everything.
Well, we'll have to scrap everything else then. That takes the budget.
I mean, to me, we could go for a lot less than the full mugger. You could just get an all-weather pitch with the floodlights. It's, which would probably be an awful lot cheaper, but we have to actually get on and do something, I think, because we've been sitting on our arse for a long, long time. And we need to get something done, because a lot of the people here are saying, well, what is the parish council doing? They don't see what we do. So we have to show them now and again, we're doing this or we're doing that. Get them off our backs.
Well, it's not that. It's about, I mean, I kind of hear you because I understand, but it's also about wanting to deliver some better facilities for the village and for the parish.
Yeah.
What I think we all want to do. It's just we don't seem to be able to come up with a way forward to actually get it into action. Which is why
we've never had a meeting to discuss it.
No, we haven't.
Genuinely, as in sit down and start planning it out, and
to be
that's
fair,
where it's got this sort of feasibility. It's just to get some high level. What are the cost options for replacing a playground of that size, and just getting some ballpark numbers from some suppliers. So we've got some initial work on the cost of options around a mugger, one being the all singing, all dancing, and then talking about, well, you just have it as an all-weather pitch. You can start seeing some of the cost implications of some of these at a high level, and it will help to plan out what is realistic within the budget we've got. Do we want to deliver more, but then have to develop some fundraising capability?
Well, you've also got Sport England, but again, if they get involved, they usually want you to let them. There's no charge for using it, which is a bit of a, you're chucking money away and getting nothing back in. I mean, whatever we do, as far as floodlights and that is concerned, there's going to have to be a charge on it so we get some money back. We're never going to make a fortune, but it will be money that will come back in that can be spent on the community again. I think we need a group to actually sit down, or we need the full council to sit down and say, look, this is what we're going to go forward with. These are the proposals. Let's vote on it. Vote on it, get it done. And that's it.
Can we have a working group to start thrashing out some of these details that we need to?
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you know, the more the merrier. The fact that you could come up with the different proposals, everybody can come up with something, and then you sit down, you talk about it, you work out what is best for the community, and you then go ahead.
Yeah,
with
like
the
we
plan.
did with the Peter Gooch room eventually.
Yeah. Well, look how long that took. I mean,
Well, yeah.
We got there in the end, though.
From
once
the
it was
office's
done-
point of view, Jan and I are happy to find out about acquiring some kind of professional guidance on this, and we can contact other parish councils nearby. But I think rather than just say to some professional, you know, what can we do? The office at least needs an idea of what you were thinking of in the first place. Like you've mentioned a mugger, you've mentioned a playground, floodlights. Where did those ideas come from?
Well, I think the floodlights and everything, we've always had floodlights there, Paul. And the kids and the men's team have always played on it as somewhere for them to train in the winter time, and then they get charged for it because of the lights and that. So that one's always been there. It's been there for years and years. Tommy Crocker put them lights up. Christ knows how long ago. Long time ago. But then once they went funny, it just got left. You know, and we've got the money for it. We've got money towards it. But we haven't got anybody in to turn around and say, this is how much it's going to cost.
Okay. Well,
it would be
can get the
handy. Yeah, it'd be handy. We actually knew how much it was going to cost because we got this money put away for it.
Yeah.
You know, and we may need to put money to it, or there may be money left over. And to me, when you get something like that with the lights, then I don't see why you can't incorporate the gym area and fence it off.
Okay.
So what area?
We're going to need to set up a working group. We're going to need to come up with something like a wish list amongst the council. We're going to need to try and find a proposal how we can, during a COVID situation, seek community input to ideas, and then come up with a list of ideas, and then go and engage the office to seek professional input around sizing up what options could come that with the base we have and give us some various ideas of budgets. Is that a plan, a way forward?
Yep, I think we need a number of informal sessions to just start discussing it and getting people to take ownership of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think we're anywhere near a position to present this into a full council meeting to approve anything, because I'm in the dark. Alan's done some work. I've never seen any output from that, so I don't know what the options are there, but I'd be definitely interested in getting the lights reinstated, or a mugger would be great.
Do I say, do we not already have a working party for this? And if not, do we just need to start again, dare I say it?
Yeah,
Well,
I think most people in the council are going to be interested in this, aren't they?
I would have thought so, yeah.
It might be you break up into smaller pieces, but I think initially we all need to discuss what we think all these items are and who we think are best placed and how we might take each of them forward, and then you might break into smaller groups then.
The other thing is, Paul, you've done some with Sport England in that, haven't you? As far as them helping out financially for these things. I'm just wondering if perhaps somebody from Sport England could give us a rough idea of what we need.
What you need?
If we're doing floodlights, you will get money out of the FA for grassroots football, and they will put money in to help put them up.
Okay.
So that would help once we know what we want, how much.
Yeah.
And help us get to that costing.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are options there. That's promising, isn't it? That's useful to know. My question would be, how do we engage the community? What do we do? What can we do in time to say what facilities do you want to see the parish council provide? Right. How do we go about? Because I think we have to do that. I don't do it though at the moment.
One of the only ways, one of the main ways really is online, isn't it? So surveys or survey monkeys and stuff like that.
Any Paul, have you got any ideas on this? What one? It's an awkward question, isn't it? Because of the COVID situation. Ordinarily, though, wouldn't just want to do something online for those who want online, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. Of course, if you do it online, only the people who are online, are going to answer.
And generally, the older population ain't going to be online.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem they have. So you'll be able to do things for a certain age group upwards, and then when it gets to the older person, they're going to be saying, "Well, they've done nothing for us." You're stuck. It's like a catch-22.
Suppose you could send out letters.
Yeah. Be handy if Alan could take some flyers down there on a Saturday morning, couldn't he? He speaks to a lot of the old people down there.
Yeah, but probably not at the moment. This is the thing.
No.
Exactly.
You can't do a lot at the moment. This is a problem. This COVID's it's a bloody nightmare.
But we could focus on getting ourselves up to speed on what some of these projects are and what they'll entail. There's nothing to stop us starting that. We're not going to resolve that in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and 4 to 6 weeks time, lockdown might look different. Who knows? But I think it'd be better to go out, even if you're asking people for their feedback, to have some sort of skeletal idea of some of the ideas that we think we could reasonably deliver. Ask them for their feedback on those, and also, is there anything else that you think that we've missed that we should be thinking about? But at the moment, we haven't really got much of a story to go and tell other than a list of ideas generally.
We can get a wish list, and then we can start chipping away at it and knocking it down till we get 2 or 3 that really are good ones that will help the community. And think then that it's a full council meeting to decide what ones we go ahead with.
Okay.
I'm happy from an office point of view to get a rough cost of how much these things would cost.
Yeah.
When you say a wish list and these projects, is this just floodlights, playgrounds?
Well, yes, I think.
Mugger.
Yeah, I think.
Is there anything else that people are wanting?
It's going to be too expensive, Paul.
Well, I can get the price, and then if it's too expensive, it's too expensive.
We can get an all-weather pitch on there, and the floodlights. I mean, that's going to help a lot of people.
I don't know. What's the difference between a mugger and an all-weather pitch?
A mugger can be used for several different sports.
Yeah. Mugger, you could. There was tennis courts, football pitch.
Is it concrete?
No. It's the proper. Is it 3G, Stuart?
It's 3G Astro.
Yeah. Which means you can play tennis on it. You can do sports on it. You could everything that's to do with sport can be done inside it. And it was all fenced in.
The way I see it, we've segregated this into different areas, but it all boils down to the same thing in my view. It's all part of a bigger project, which is redesigning Fields recreational ground with elements to it. So it's about the sports facilities it provides, it's about the leisure facilities it provides, it's about the playground equipment for various age groups. But it is ultimately that what do we do facility-wise for that area of parish land? There's almost like a one big project which has, if you break it down, we'll have different costs for each element of that project. But we can't do it without knowing the costs. We can't do it without knowing what the priorities are to the community. None of which we currently know.
Well, we are kind of stuck because there's only certain places we can actually spend money on. The rest is the whole village, which doesn't belong to us. So we were kind of restricted in some ways.
Yeah.
But
My
I think
my-
the kids the kids area, the kids play area that where it is now.
Yeah.
I think Janet was saying because the doctor's surgery may have to extend. But if they're not extending, then let's get that kids area done.
well, we
Let's
don't-
rip it out and put in a proper area for the kids again.
I don't think we should stall anything we're doing on the basis of a hypothetical doctor's extension.
Yeah.
Don't know about that. My one view would be I don't think this should be dealt with in a normal monthly council meeting. It's too big. I suggest that we have some form of
Tea and buns.
a tea and buns meeting to work out what on earth we're doing, how we want to go about it, with everybody invited, do some brainstorming and come out with something that's a bit more coherent than what we currently have, and give it the proper time it warrants, because this is going to be the biggest project that we would have had in, well, certainly since school issues. So it warrants more time than a slot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll go around in circles a bit because we've always suggested that. So let's just agree to do that and
Yeah.
move on.
So can we arrange that meeting? Can we take a look?
I'm up for it.
Yeah, it's going to take a couple of hours at least, maybe one or two of those as well.
Yeah, but I certainly have the first one to kick things off.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my proposal then.
Yeah.
So,
I'll second that.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Get something moving.
So, sorry, just to make this clear, this is a proposal to sort this issue out outside normal council meetings.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a desire to get together and start
Just sort the issue out.
discussing
It's
it
just
properly
to
and
start discussing it more, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I
far
think-
too much going on in a council meeting as it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
That
Right.
you can't give it. This is something that we need to give our full attention to, and you
Okay.
can't do that at a council meeting because we've got so many other stuff
Yeah.
on there that
Of course.
we
Um,
need to really think about it and get it sorted and get it done.
The more pressing thing, that's obviously a really good idea. The more pressing thing is what the council wants to put in its budget for next year. Now, but by the sounds of it, having a working group or extra council meetings and having a public consultation is the kind of thing that will take quite a bit of time, as it should. And you know, if you decide, for example, to get a new playground, it's unlikely to happen in the next financial year. What we need to know very soon is what money you want to put beside in a budget, if anything.
Well, to me, I think the first thing you got to do is the money from the school has got to go back into the community, plus the floodlights.
Well,
You're not
all the money that you've set aside has to go back to the community.
Yeah, the money that we got from the school is
That's
money that it's extra money to us anyway, because unless the school was there, we wouldn't have had that money. So that money should then go back to the community to do whatever. So I think you've got that 75. The floodlights take care of themselves because that money's already there, and so does Charles's money. So I think you've actually got a budget of around about 75 that you can actually work with to try and get some things done.
yeah, Paul,
I
you're
don't know
not.
what anybody else thinks.
Otherwise-
But, you know, I just don't think that we should be spending that money on anything else but the community on that one. But you know, I'm open to suggestions for anything else.
No, I agree with you, Alan. But Paul, you're not after an answer yet, are you? You're not after an answer at this meeting about future.
No.
You're going to
No.
need an answer prior to January, and therefore we need to be thinking about it now in relation to these schemes and projects. Is that your point?
Yes. The point I'm making is that very soon you have to decide on your budget. which, by the way, I've drafted, sort of ready for you to have a look at. But if there's anything other than the normal day-to-day business you want on the budget, that has to be decided very soon, by the end of January.
So the point is, if we were going to go ahead with a big project, it required extra funding, we would need to notify you of that in January.
Yep, unless it's an earmarked reserve, and you're going to use that, which is there already.
So we got an earmark reserve for 10 grand for playground, but unless we do a bit of initial research, we might find it costs 70 grand to do the bare basics, and therefore we're going to need to put an extra 60 in the budget. But unless till we have that initial meeting, we don't know that is the priority project. There might be something else that's a priority.
So we need that European Funds meeting to happen probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
I'm just thinking as a way to move on. Do you want Jan and myself to have a look at prices for playgrounds, floodlights?
Yes, please. Yeah, I think
Anything
that's a
else?
good idea.
It'll give us some idea of where we stand.
Yeah.
Are there any other projects that are in the pipeline that people are talking about?
I can't think of any.
Well, any information we've got about this mugger, because we've been talking about it, but I haven't seen anything yet. But Alan, if you've got anything that you can share with the office and get any more detail around, would be useful.
Yeah, I think Paul, did I send you that email with that I got off that lady?
You sent one quote, yeah.
Yeah, I just got the one to give us a rough idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could put that out to everybody so they could see exactly what it's going to cost for what you're getting for it.
Yeah, well, it gives an idea.
Go from there, couldn't we?
Of course, the other difficulty is that getting these kind of prices takes time.
Yeah.
And often people have to come and visit, and I don't know how much slower that may be during the lockdown.
Well, if they could visit, I don't mind putting on my mask and going up there and showing them where we're having everything. There's no problem over that.
Thank you. Well, I don't mind meeting them, but it's whether they'd be so forthcoming about visiting.
Yeah,
we can try.
Traveling.
We're not asking for for the playground. We're not asking for a quote. We're just looking for some indicative. If we have a play area of this size, what are the sort of options at different price points? And
we can ask some other parish councils as well.
Yeah.
There's definitely some better looking parks out there. So there's some parish councils that I'm sure could give us a rough idea. Ballpark figure.
Mortimer's an interesting one, for example. Size I felt when I've been there.
Okay, I can ask them as well.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul, you mentioned other projects. The only other project, and it may well be formed part of this as well, was the acquisition or installation of CCTV. Because there's been turnover. If you're going to put equipment in, you want to make sure you've got CCTV to help deal with any, vandalism, etc. So that's the only other I can think of that needs to be looked at as well.
Okay.
So what people think of that? But that's my views.
Okay. Jan, I'm sure, is happy, and I'm happy to get on with that.
For as long as I've been on the council, there's always been talk of an outdoor gym as well.
Yeah, that's Chandler's.
That's part of it, I think, Clint.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's Chandler's money.
Yeah.
So it's equipment for children. It's outdoor gym equipment. That's for, I think it was termed as an adult or older person's thing, wasn't it?
Okay, we'll do our best to get some prices.
Thank you, Paul.
You also, in terms of scheduling another session, initial session, is that something that you'll schedule, Paul, or how do we go about that? Or is it up for councillors to just agree a time and set up a Teams meeting?
Yes.
It might
Yeah, it's
actually be
it's up
better,
to you.
Paul, it might be better if you could get all this stuff together and then call a meeting. Call a video meeting so we can all get, and you can actually talk over the prices and the jobs and everything else.
Yeah.
As a separate issue.
Yeah.
Away from the parish council normal business.
Yep. Yep, I can do that.
I think that's a good idea, and just I think we don't do enough talking in between meetings to be able to actually move things on, if you know what I mean. So I think more of that, I welcome that.
Yeah, the tea and buns gives us an opportunity to get all the kind of guff out of the way and get everything out of the way and get some coherent points that we can then bring to full council meeting. Otherwise, it just takes too long.
Yep.
You just want tea and buns, Ian, so you can get a biscuit for nothing.
You have to supply your own tea and buns, though.
Yeah. He
Virtual.
don't bring anything.
Okie doke.
He doesn't bring any food or any drink or anything. Just eats everybody else's.
That's a freeloader, Alan.
Okay, I think we're done
Yeah.
for agenda item 9 for tonight.
Good.
Yeah, so we'll leave that to Paul.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Pleasure.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 10. So this is a point I touched on in the last meeting. I've sent around a document just to highlight some of the things that I've observed. So it's really come around. I have had a number of people in the village sort of commenting on potential lack of use or under usage of our recreational facilities. I know my councillor Gash had a number of queries. So yeah, just following on from that, I took it upon myself to have a chat with the chair and the treasurer at Field Tigers, as well as speaking to some other local football teams and parish councils to just understand what they're doing with their provision and availability of pitches and sports facilities. Within the village, though, we've got 3 adult football pitches and 4 adult teams hiring.
5.
So shoot.
5.
5.
Yeah.
Is that? Okay. I was made aware of 4. Is there a new one recently?
Yeah, there's another one this year.
Okay.
Calcut on Saturdays.
Okay, so 5 adult team, but we don't currently have any junior teams. We've got 1 junior pitch, 1 being built. We've got no junior users or hirers of our pitches. Of course, we do have an active local football team with 8 teams and 120 kids approximately getting coaching. Cricket team has adult and junior teams. They're charged on a per match basis. Regularly use it for training, but no additional charges for that. So yeah, just from what I've observed as well, just personally, I and a lot of other parents go over to Calcut for kids football training on a Thursday. The usage at Calcut's linear park is significant. It's a really positive environment. So you've got 2 field junior teams train over there. You've got 1 other junior team, junior girls team, women's team, 3 men's football team, all training at the same time, and taekwondo classes going on. So it was quite a marked difference that I observed there. Similar at Pangbourne, when I go over there, there's a huge amount more usage of the facilities. In terms of charges, Paul had been speaking to Tyler Parish Council, and they confirmed that teams only get charged for formal matches, not when they're training. I contacted Honeybrook Parish Council. They confirmed their bookings are actually managed by West Berkshire Council, but they only book and charge pitches for formal matches, but not for general use and by fitness groups. Field Tigers confirmed they're not charged to train over there either. And then also talked to Pangbourne Football Club, and they've confirmed when they train at Pangbourne Rec, they don't get charged. They don't have to book in with the Parish Council. As of yet, I haven't had a response back from Parish Council just to confirm that. For those that don't know, junior teams generally play matches at a central location. So they play all their games at the same time. So they don't need a booking of a formal pitch. so there won't be any demand from us to provide pitches for that. They just want a space locally to train and practice, typically once a week. They don't have any requirement for any equipment. They bring all their own goals and cones and just get on with it. They just want some space. As you go up the age groups, then you can elect to join a league where you do need a home pitch, and that's potentially where we can pick up bookings for our junior pitches. So I was really keen just to look at options where we can provide a bit more support for some of our local teams, to have a bit more flexibility around training provision, given that they're not going to be booking matches. So I was looking if we could maybe make that available to Field Tigers and any other local junior teams that might want to come and train on our pitches to use them and increase the usage.
One, Field Tigers were supposed to have had a junior team out on North Street playing fields this season. They kept badgering me all last year about having a pitch, and I said, yeah, the one down the bottom will be available. You can have it. Start of the season, they decided they don't want to play there. They're going to Field Green School. So they had that option, and I don't see where they're coming from, as in the training, because they know what they've got to do. I spoke to their chairman about it. I know their secretary, and they've been told they have to go through the office because of the amount of people and the limited car parking spaces we've got. Because we've always trained on North Street, and we've moved to behind the social club now because of the limited amount of parking spaces in the car park. And we've always booked through the office to let them know when we're training, and I don't see why it should be different for anybody else. And we've done that for years.
Is the issue, can I just ask a question? Is the issue about the booking, I get what Stuart's saying there, or is it the pricing or both?
It's probably a bit of both. So I think there was a time they were training, there was a single instance where they were training on North Street playing fields, which generated some discussion amongst the council. And I don't think there's any clarity on whether teams should be being charged or not. I've been speaking to Paul. I'm not sure we're sure what the arrangement is, if teams are just looking to use our facilities to practice some kids to play football on. They're not organising matches, they're not needing marked out pitches, they're not using any facilities. I personally don't think we should be trying to charge a junior team for that.
Yeah, but they probably pay subs, don't they? And we've always had to pay for training over there.
How much you charge?
So I thought a couple of teams I've managed. One going back a few years on the pitch what Stuart's team now plays on, and not long ago, probably about 3-4 years ago, the team I managed played on North Street playing field, and charging for the training was in with the pitch, price for the pitch.
We were paying about £20, I think, for however long it was from the end of the season, or August, end of July till September. And we were paying about £20.
From what I've seen from some of the contracts, it looks like there's a charge per match, and training is also allowed. It doesn't give a fee per training session or anything like that.
Yeah, I think years ago, ours was all lumped in together, and it was all broken up and paid off as one lump sum. Because some years we were paying 540 quid, and I'm going back quite a few years when we were paying cash, and some years we were paying 520. The only year we haven't paid, obviously, this year, because nobody bothered training other than maybe 3 or 4 weeks when we were allowed back out. And last year we didn't pay because I think there was a big issue and confusion over paying with Jane, because we used to have to pay everything up front for the whole season, which we were doing, and then she then decided that we didn't have to pay up front. You could pay on a per match. If you used the pitch, then you paid, and I think all the training money just went out the window, as far as I know.
So yeah, as I said, from looking at contracts, it seems you get charged per match, and there's no additional charge for training. So we're in a scenario where junior teams don't need a pitch for formal matches.
Well, we
have no one using the junior pitches.
There used to be a separate contract for training because of insurances and stuff.
I have found in previous years that Field Tigers were charged a nominal fee of about 20 quid for the whole summer. That hasn't happened more recently.
Yeah, because I remember helping in my own reasonably abject way with football for junior teams on North Street playing fields when my son was about, probably, so we're going back quite a few years. So we did used to use, Field Tigers did use North Street playing fields for junior training. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to train out there on a Thursday when we were out there, when Matt Newman was doing it.
Yeah, well, I'm going back quite a long time, but I don't know what's happened since then to cause this not to use the facilities. I mean, in principle, I think what Dan's proposing kind of, I'm in principle, I think it makes sense, doesn't it? We want to do anything to encourage, children in the village to kind of use the village facilities, make it life easier for in the village to use those facilities rather than have to drive off to another village for their kids to go to use the practice session. But is it not just a question of making sure that they coordinate with the office just in case they have problems like what Stuart was outlining, where they turn up and they're a big couple of matches going on and they're going to be in people's ways? I mean, and also the insurance situation. Is that a practical consideration we can get past? I mean, the charging, I think, a nominal fee perhaps for the year makes sense. Doesn't have to be a lot. Is that a kind of a compromise? Would that work?
I didn't get all what you said, Ian. Sorry, mate.
I can see why practically you might want them to go via the office to let the office know, council know effectively that they want to use facilities on certain days to make sure it doesn't clash with matches, etc. That's just common sense. Two, if there is an insurance issue, and I guess we do have to be mindful of that, then that can be got around with a contract that used to be used with a sort of like a token fee. And then does that not meet all the requirements?
Yeah, I don't think anybody has an issue if they were training on North Street playing field, because I've discussed with some of them last year and the year before, and they just waste my time and space to tell them if they want to train, they've got to go through the office and they could train. They could train at the far end near the golf course, because then that is not marked out. Nothing's being used then. It's away from the other pitches that are marked out. Nobody has an issue with anything with that, but I've told them quite a few times, but they don't bother doing anything. And then I got a feeling it come to a head because somebody had gone out to mark one of the pitches out, I think this year, and I don't know where they come from work to go and do something, and they were training and they couldn't mark the pitch out. And nobody knew they were going to be out there. And I think that's the issue, because if my lot are training and I've got about 30 blokes and we're behind the social club, you can't have anybody else out there, because if we've got 30 and we've got the goals out, that area is taken up.
Since this was brought up a month or two ago, whenever it was, I did email Field Tigers just to ask them, could they just let the office know when they're planning on training, just to avoid any clashes. But I think, Dan, what you're really talking about in your paper that you've done is less about the formalities of how to book a pitch, but building positive links with these local clubs. Is that right?
Yeah, there is that. Obviously, we are conscious we've got 2 pitches that we're looking to hire out for junior teams. So
yeah,
in the short term, it's can we re-engage with Field Tigers by having some flexibility in them being able to use North Street? It sounds like we're all happy for them to train on North Street at the far end where the junior pitch is earmarked to go. The likelihood is that through the winter they're not going to use it. There's no floodlights.
Yeah.
Teams play on a Saturday generally. I know they've had real problems getting alternative floodlit pitches after Pangbourne started refusing to hire out to local teams through COVID. So people are scrabbling around trying to find areas to train. So some are choosing to potentially train at the weekend as well. So, but it's more likely to be in the springtime when the light improves that they potentially be looking to
same with most kids.
So I don't think there's any issue with them engaging through the office and having a point of contact in terms of, I don't know if we have any guidance we issue to hirers or users of our pitches, but yeah, they're not going to be paying for pitches because they're not playing formal matches, and I don't think we've got a policy in terms of what a junior team that just want to train and practice, what that is. I mean, Ian's mentioned a nominal fee of £20 for a year. I don't know whether that's.
I didn't plug that from there. Someone mentioned it for me.
I mentioned that.
And for the sake of £20, I'll suggest let's not.
No.
We can have an agreement in place with them if we need that for insurance purposes.
Yeah.
Down
particularly, it's just drawing on the fact that that's what used to happen previously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. Council's got any views?
No, I agree. We should do that, and like the formality just needs to be there that they let the office know that there's a process when they're training, because practically you need to know when parts of the field are going to be in use, obviously.
Can I point? If they train regularly on a regular day of the week, it's not like they have to phone up. Not somebody.
No, exactly. It should be like we're playing every Thursday.
Yeah. So you engage once. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, potentially there's a bit of stuff ad hoc, as I said, whilst they're trying to continue providing provision of football through COVID times, and when certain providers of floodlit pitches have closed down, the club are trying to be flexible and trying to continue providing coaching for the kids. And that's if we can provide that flexibility, that would be really helpful. It's more likely to be said in the springtime.
Yeah.
When the light improves, and I think they do train right through the year. So our pitches won't be used right through the year. So there's an even bigger.
But then that's when they've got to use their loaf that they don't train when it's baking hot. Otherwise, they're going to take all the grass off, and then the pitches won't be any good in the winter.
Yeah, but Holybrook seems to cope all right with a massive amount of use. We seem to be.
Yeah, but we don't want everybody from everywhere coming and ruin the facilities we've got. Otherwise, it makes it for everybody else who pays for the pitches to use them.
Okay. I think we're all agreeing it'd be good to book it, so we can have an agreement where they need to just book in and give notice to the office, and we could put that into some sort of agreement. Or I'm sure Paul and Jan can manage that. Club are keen just to have some contacts and guidance of what they need to do, and then next question to everyone is what is the fee for a junior team to train? It sounds like we don't have a pro forma schedule of costs, and it's whether in the short term we just let's get them using it and engaging with the council, and then
it was more that the point I was making wasn't necessarily about the fee. I think what may have been missed. It was more around there was a novel and a almost like a contract for insurance purposes that may be required. There's more making the insurance angles covered as well. I mean, these are small details really. I think there's good want to negotiate and help support this endeavour. It's just making sure that there are some small details covered off really, like insurance.
I think the small details we can easily cover in the office, like we did for the fitness class. We can just create a contract, even if you aren't going to charge anything. If you decide not to charge anything, we can still just create a contract to cover all that kind of stuff.
And around Stuart's point around potentially damage to pitches that are used by and paid for by other teams. We're kind of primarily talking about a part that is off the pitches, isn't it? Is that right? I'm just trying to deal with Stuart's concern earlier. That's because he raised it.
I didn't catch up for what you said again, Ian.
Ian, we've got 2 adult pitches marked out, I understand, on North Street playing fields, and where there was to be a junior pitch at the bottom. I think Stuart was saying it's not marked out, so there is an area down towards the golf course that is unmarked out and unallocated.
Yeah,
Space for
the
junior pitch, but yeah.
Well, that's where the junior pitch was going to be, what Tigers were going to have, but because of they've decided to go to Field Green, and we never got the girls back because they decided to stay at Field Green because it took too long for West Berks to sort the other pitches out. That's why there's nobody down there.
Okay.
So we can get an agreement in place for them to be able to use that area, and we can dictate where that is. And we can tell them they need to book in. We can manage increased usage in by any other user group would need to book in with the office as well.
Yep.
And we can get an agreement in place that will cover the insurance issue.
No, well, all the clubs should have their own insurance, otherwise they shouldn't be playing. What I'm saying is that the club insurance should cover them, but I'm not convinced that our insurance is whether if any of them got injured, if they didn't have insurance, they wouldn't be covered on Parish Council insurance.
Jan and I can have a look.
Yeah, because the problem is if you down that bottom end, there are some holes down there, and if a child goes down it and breaks his leg.
No, they're finished, Alan. It's all done.
Is it?
Yeah.
You filled them in. Out. Yeah, well, I dug them up again.
Just don't let them go anywhere near that fund.
Yeah.
The hedgerow that's going in.
And one thing we didn't mention was that I had to go across there before the season started and chuck off a men's team, and I think Stuart had to do the same. They were from the ones I told off were Burfield.
AFC Kennet.
Yeah, Burfield came down here because they weren't allowed on their rec. They decided they would come down North Street, and about 30 of them turned up down here to play football without asking anybody or doing anything. Yeah. So I had to tell them, sorry, it's private land, piss off. Oh, sorry, go away.
Okay, but I think what we're proposing is that any users will need to have an agreement in place.
Yeah, you need to speak to the office and go through the office and let the office know when they're going, and then we can sort something out.
Okay.
I do think we need to find out if teams that are currently playing on there, if they are getting a little extra charge to train as well. I think we need to find if that is the case. If that's the case, then anyone else is training on there. Adam?
At the moment, they're just being charged for matches.
Okay.
Yeah, Calgary won't train out there, and neither will way back.
Yeah.
Because we used to get charged when I managed teams there. We used to get charged for training as well.
The cricket club are charged per match. They don't get charged for training. We got commercial exercise classes on the rec which don't get charged. I think it's reasonable not to charge a local junior football team.
Yeah, and it's interesting what you pointed out in what you outlined, Dan, around what other parish councils do. It does seem like we perhaps are not currently in line necessarily, which is strange.
but we can actually control ours better than everybody else.
So I think we'd be happy if we can have some guidance for the users. We can have an agreement that doesn't necessarily have a charge, and then the office can manage that. And if then the usage starts to increase, then Paul can let the parish council know that there are potentially other users that are interested. We can decide how to deal with that.
Okay, and am I right in thinking you're proposing that this agreement means that, excuse me, am I right in proposing that we don't charge for training?
Oh, I thought you were talking about putting a minimum charge in.
I would propose not to. I reckon for a year, we could do a contract for a year and just start to get some increased usage and get some of the local teams practicing in field again. I think that would be positive.
You mentioned other parish councils don't currently charge as well, so that would be in line with what other parish councils do to what we do.
If you don't want to charge, or if you do, whatever, I suggest you make a formal decision now.
Okay.
I don't see why just because it's Steel Tigers, they shouldn't have to pay after we've paid for years. And now all of a sudden it changes.
But
I
don't
don't
pay
think
for
Dan's
training.
just talking about Phil Tigers. It's any local team, isn't it, Dan?
Well, that's the only team that's discussed that I've been talking to about maybe using our facilities. If another team approached, then again,
yeah, but I don't have an issue because Tigers are a local team. Tigers should be training on North Street playing fields, but you don't want every other team coming from miles around to wreck our facilities because they don't want to wreck their facilities. I've moved Aldermaston, Burfield, Barton, and another, I can't think who the other team was, that were training behind the social club, and they're just ripping the pitch up through the summer and taking all the grass off. I'm the one who has to repair it. I'm the one who has to mark everything out. We're the ones who have to pay for the usage. So I don't see why we should have everybody else coming down here wrecking all the facilities that we have to pay for.
Well,
I
that's
think
why
we're proposing that any user would need to have an.
Is they're local,
that's
But-
what
No.
needs to be managed through the office and managed in terms of, you know, looking out for the usage, making sure it's not being overused, and keeping an eye on, you know, not anyone's not going to be able to willy-nilly come and train, are they? That's not what's being proposed.
No, Katie, they shouldn't, but they do, because a lot of them don't realise that North Street playing fields and the wreck of private property. That's why the signs up. They're not allowed to just turn up and do what they want.
Well, people who do turn up and just do what they want need to be spoken to, which they normally, well, they are. If
Yeah,
they're
the
seen.
proposal is that any users would need to have an agreement.
I'm on a meeting. Out. Sorry.
So yeah, we're proposing that any users would need to have an agreement, and then it would be managed through the office.
Yeah.
And I propose if we put an agreement in place, we choose not to charge for a first year, and we can always review it after a year. Like, I think most of the football contracts are in year terms.
Yeah. So can I just be clear then? The proposal, as you're making it, isn't that there's a free for all for anybody, like Stuart pointing out, just to use our facilities and wreck them, maybe. It's just purely for those who have been sanctioned via the office or have gone through and arranged it via the office, and it's only to use part of North Street that isn't marked currently for adult pitches. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
It's to go through parish office. The parish office can set the agreements, and they can manage the usage.
So the scenario Stuart was talking about, because I get where he was coming from completely, is effectively unsanctioned use by teams using it when they shouldn't be, and that's a different.
And it can work positively. That could be an option that councillors, if they want to go through. I've observed it in Calcutta, and it works brilliantly, and it's a really positive environment. But if people are genuinely concerned about the state of our pitches, then we can choose to manage it. I'm manage it through agreements through the.
Yeah, I'm just trying to marry the two sort of sides here, Dan. So
no.
There's some concerns that have been expressed.
So that's what I'm saying. We're proposing this, that we do choose to manage it. Every team that wants to use the facilities has to have an agreement. I'd be proposing that for a junior team just using it for a practice facility.
It's got to be. You can't just have everybody turning up willy-nilly, because we've got about 20 parking spaces over by the social club. That's all we've got. So you can't just have people turning up and 60, 70 cars parked everywhere. Yeah. Same as North Street. We've got enough parking on there for about 60 cars, if that. So it's got to be managed, and it's got to be done for the right people and the right teams, and not just people coming down here because they want to wreck our training pitches and that, just because they don't want to go and play on their own.
Well, if somebody seconds Dan's proposal for an agreement and managing this through the office, and then you vote on it, Jan and I can make sure that there won't be two people at the same time. Katie, second.
Is it just worth clarifying fully what that proposal is? Just so I know
got a proposal that any users wishing to train on the recreation ground, including North Street playing fields, would need a formal agreement from the office, and that any booking would be managed through the office.
Yeah, and that has to be agreed with us.
When you say us,
It's us.
Yeah, the office, the council.
with the
Yeah.
office, yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to be asking all the councillors every time somebody wants to.
No, I know you're not.
Okay.
I know you're not, but I'm the one who sorted out all the teams to go out there and sort everything out. So
That's fine.
And as part of that proposal, does it need to cover the questions that were raised around insurance and about charging? It is a proposal that is no charge, which I'm okay with, but
the insurance I can make part of the agreement. I can just use a standard agreement, similar to what I use for the fitness club.
okay.
I suggest you vote on this proposal and then treat the matter of charging them or not separately.
Does that suit you, Dan? You need that pointed out.
How will we determine the charge then if we haven't agreed that today? Because there is no standard charge. Most of our teams are charged per match, and these junior teams won't be playing matches.
You proposed a year's no charging, didn't you? I think that was part of what I
So much like the commercial sports classes that aren't charged, yeah, I would suggest we have a year contract, and initially we do it with no charge.
So
then
I
we can
suggest
review at the end of the year.
if that's what you're proposing, Dan, I suggest you get everyone here to vote on that, and then we have a decision.
Can I just ask Paul, can something be put in there that if anybody is injured over there, it's nothing to do with us?
Well, unless it is, yeah.
Because I don't want anybody coming down here doing training, they're not paying anything, and all of a sudden our insurance has to cover them if they get injured.
I can make sure the contract has the relevant insurance stuff, and I'll contact our insurers to tell them what's up.
Yeah, because if they hurt themselves, it's their problem. It's not ours. They're not paying for it, so therefore they don't get any.
But there is going to be an agreement in place. So.
Yeah. I don't think it will be quite that simple, but I'll make sure there's an agreement like we have with the fitness club.
Yeah.
And the other sports teams.
Yes, so they're all under the same umbrella. It's all one thing.
There'd be sort of no liability.
So we voted on the first one.
Pardon?
We've got two different things to vote on, haven't we?
Yeah, the first one is that any people who want to train on the pitch would need an agreement, and that it will be managed through the office. Dan proposed it, Katie seconded it. You just need a vote.
Okay.
Sounds
to me.
Is it possible? I know it sounds stupid. Is it possible, Paul, that when someone else does want to train on there, Stuart knows all the teams. He knows the good ones. He knows the bad ones. So, would it be possible to liaise with him as to who we allow on there? Would that be possible?
If anything's possible, but it's whether the council wants that.
Well, he's been talking about the pitches, so it was just that he's more in the know than any of us as far as football teams are concerned. That's all I'm saying. We don't want a bad lot on there if they do want to come down.
The only issue is if two teams approach the office and one passes Stuart's OK test and the other doesn't, and the one who doesn't ask me why, I can't say because they're a bad bunch.
Well, there'll be some sort of reason. We don't have to give them a reason because it's up to us. It's our land that
we should trust the office to manage this, Alan. Surely we're talking about kids' football just practicing.
No, I'm not just talking about kids' football. I'm talking about football in general. I'm talking, because if you get kids there, then some senior teams could want to come down. Then what do you do?
But we've said every team needs to have an agreement with the office and permission to use the facilities.
Yeah, so does Paul know all the senior teams in the leagues?
No.
There you go. So it's exactly what I'm saying.
Paul could use his professional judgment to decide if he needs to consult with Stuart, surely.
Yeah, Dan, we have already had teams down here that we wouldn't even give them a pitch because they're not good sides. The last thing we want is teams down here training who aren't going to look after all our resources down here. That's not on. Stuart knows them, so he could just say, Paul, no, that's not a good side, or whatever.
We can sort that out, because me and Paul have done that this year with the ones who are hiring now.
If a team, for example, does start damaging the pitch, or I don't know, does something like that, we can have something in the contract which covers that.
Yeah. It's difficult. You can't formalise.
I just didn't want to get to that stage.
I think we can trust Paul to liaise with Stuart as and when we need. I don't think we need a resolution to say that Paul should talk to Stuart. I'm sure Paul talks to Stuart about football a lot.
We've done that this year.
Yeah.
Informally, we have, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I'm asking.
And that's probably what needs to carry on. But
Okay. Yeah. So, do you want to vote to have these agreements and managing all this with the office?
Yes, it definitely should come through the office. I agree.
Okay. Do you all agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to go through the office.
And Dan's proposal about not charging teams for training. Do you want to vote on that? And is there a seconder?
Yeah, go on, I'll second. I don't mind. I think it was mentioned for a year, Dan, just to be clear, wasn't it?
For a year.
While we work.
Yeah, so most of the football contracts are for a year, and the commercial exercise classes are for a year. So, yeah.
Okay. And do you want to vote on that?
Yeah, I'll vote on the basis that it's in line with seemingly with other councils. So, but I don't know what other people are going to say. We need to raise. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a bit of a poor show that if a team can't pay 20 quid for training.
It's for a year. I think rebuild the relationships almost, isn't it? That's the idea.
Well,
it's partly about an opportunity to rebuild some relationships with the local junior team. We're going to have 2 junior pitchers we're looking to be hiring out. And at the moment, we have no junior users. So for the sake of a charge of 20 quid, I think let's start engaging with the club and trying to improve relationships and get them using the facilities. And then we can review in a year's time, and hopefully we've got some positive usage and we might secure some formal hires.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm going against it because of the fact that we've got to pay for the pitches, which go towards the grass cutting and the upkeep of the pitches. So I don't see why somebody else should have to have it for nothing if we've got to pay for stuff.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think it's unfair on teams that pay.
No one is paying for training, are they? We've already thrashed that one out, haven't we?
No, we paid for training. We've paid for training for years, other than the last 2 seasons.
But you're not now. That's the.
No,
that's
you're
the. That's
You're not.
You
Your
have to
contract
do
says a
it.
charge per match. Your contract's a charge per match.
Since I've been here, at least, I've never done an invoice for training.
A cricket club don't pay for training.
No, they don't.
Commercial exercise classes don't get charged to use the facilities. The football teams get charged per match, not for training.
I'll say it again. We've paid for training for every year we've been over there, other than the last 2 years.
Yes, so it stopped.
And we have to pay, us, Calcut and Wayback, pay pitch fees to use facilities and for the grass cutting and the upkeep of the pitches. So why can't somebody pay £20 a year just to train? I don't get why that's so hard.
Why bother charging 20 quid?
Well, I'm only saying that because that's what it was. I don't put the agreement in place. That's what it was for years. I have no idea where 20 quid come from, because I was stunned when we first went over there, however many years ago it was, and they said it's 20 quid to train. And I thought, Jesus Christ, everybody will have some of that.
So is that what you've paid for the 20 quid a year for the few years?
Yeah.
So that's not really upkept the pitch anyway, is it?
Pardon?
That's not really the full price of upkeeping the pitch anyway, is it?
No, that was for training.
Not
We
the
pay
match.
about 50 quid a game, I think it is, or something like that, which we've paid for about 15 years.
Yeah. Dan, your proposal is based on your, I guess, am I right in thinking this is trying to rebuild a relationship with local
And to
teams?
make it, yeah, so it's rebuilding relationship.
Just
Hopefully we'll get.
Because I wasn't at last meeting, so I didn't hear all the. So, and that's why I'm suggesting there's no, because £20 is a nominal fee, isn't it? Really, it sounds to me.
Yeah, I think it was just that was all it was, just so you could train over there, Ian. Tigers used to pay it, as you said. Everybody paid it.
But yeah, I mean, I don't remember. But on the basis it's a nominal fee. Is it really? Is it a big sticking point? I mean, for me, I would probably rather not have the 20 quid, but have the relationship bill than the 20 quid, if that makes sense. But
it's probably not a big sticking point. But the thing is, it was there, and we done it. And if it's going to be scrapped now, then it's got to be scrapped for everybody, not just one club.
But it has been scrapped, hasn't it?
I have no idea, Katie. I don't know.
Okay.
As we're saying, the cricket club don't get charged for training. The football team contracts that we've seen are per match, don't get charged for training. And we have commercial exercise classes on the rec that doesn't get charged at all. Yet we think we have to charge a junior team a nominal fee. It just seems a bit bizarre and inconsistent.
I think if you put a time, you mentioned a year. I think it is something that might need reviewing, because I mean I get the point around other teams do make a financial contribution to cutting the grass, etc., maintaining those facilities, and this is a balancing act about, and also trying to encourage use of local families, local children, etc. £20 is a nominal fee. I don't think it should be a sticking point particularly.
We can always review it and see how much it's being used by them. And
yeah, I mean, it'd be nice, wouldn't it, to have those relationships built back up again? I think we'd all agree with that, wouldn't? I'm sure everyone agrees with that. And it might lead to, as you said, it might lead to other juniors being played for on a match basis. So I guess that would be something that you're looking at. So it could be a revenue stream later down the line. Is that what you were suggesting as well, Dan?
Yeah, because at the moment we've got no junior users of our pitches for training or matches. We've got 2 junior pitches, so it'd be good to build up relationships with the main local junior team, and then in future when we got a new pitch on, hopefully we'll some of the older age groups in the junior football will use it as their home pitch.
We might forego 20 quid, but start earning money down the line and work out cordially. So just
and we don't charge anyone else for training. Currently.
Yeah. So should we vote on it then? Going back to the vote again.
Well, you know what? I honestly wish I'd never helped start Theo Tigers off. I really do. I'm disgusted by the way it keeps on going. They're bloody disgusting.
Is Dan still there?
I don't know. Sounds like he walked away.
Okay, well, I've made the point that it'd be really inconsistent. If people want to vote yes or no, let's just have the vote. There's no point debating it anymore. So I'd propose that they're allowed to use it without a nominal fee and have a year contract.
I'll second that. Are we just talking about? Are we talking about, just to confirm, anybody using it for training, or like for the exercise facilities and stuff? Because I don't want to have a conflict of interest because of my PT stuff, which I'm not doing at the moment, but I might be next year. And it doesn't look very good if I'm voting not to pay for training when I'm going to possibly use it in the future. You know what I mean? Have I confused you?
No, you've used it before, which isn't an issue.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll second that then, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, so how do you want to? What do you want to show plans here at this point?
So either agree or not.
Okay, well, I would agree with it. I think we need to try and build relationships back somehow. I don't know how we do it, but it seems to me like this is a nice first step. But I'm not, that's just my view. I accept that it might be different to other people's views, and I respect their view. That's my view. Gets my vote.
Me, I'm disagreeing. I'm going against.
Yeah, I go by what I originally said as well.
I don't have a problem with them training down there. Never have done, never will do. But I don't see why it should be for free.
Okay.
You could still have relationships with them. I know the chairman. I know the secretary. I don't see that it's an issue that a club of that size can't pay 20 quid per team or whatever team wants to go out there and train through however long, because they have to pay for their winter training. So,
Okay, Alan.
I'm agreeing with Stuart. A nominal fee for them is no problem whatsoever, and they can go down that bottom end and do what they want.
Okay, so that's Paul. Probably need a question on procedure here. So that's 3, 4, and 3 against.
Oh, I didn't hear what Clint was. Sorry,
Clint was a no.
Clint's against. Technically, if there's an equality of votes, the chairman has a casting vote.
Okay.
Now, the standing orders doesn't make it clear whether that means the chairman of the meeting or the chairman.
Interesting.
I don't know, but I would say it was the chairman of the meeting. But
Well,
I would
if you're happy to do that, I suggest Dan just have his casting vote because I need the loo.
But I don't know. I'm only going on other stuff.
I'd use my casting vote, and if procedurally it's proved to be incorrect, then I'm assuming we can revoke that. Is that a fair summary, Paul?
Yep, let's go ahead with that.
Okay. Well, I'll use my chairman's vote then to agree it for free for a year and waive the nominal £20 charge. Then be consistent with the other users.
Sorry to interrupt. Jan, do you mind just covering me for 2 minutes? Cheers. You can keep going.
No, that's fine. That's okay. Carry on.
All right. Okay. Thanks for that one takes so long. So we're on to item 11 to accept proposals waive some of the charge for the hire of the council facilities by Field and Tyres Cricket Club. So,
What one's that? And cricket.
So it's cricket, yeah. So we got their proposal for a reduced charge, 22 senior matches, 1 youth match, and 4 meetings. Charge of £1,445.50.
I can't really comment on this because
that was your conflict, yeah.
So it seemed this was a reduction from. Sorry, I haven't got the papers in front of me. I'm having to juggle on a phone. I did read it earlier. Does anyone have it in hand at the moment? What it was reduced from? Because I've seen various proposals on this.
I haven't got the original emails in front of me.
Sorry, neither have I.
I haven't neither. I thought it was, weren't it 30% off of what the total was?
Yeah, I think it was a 70% fee, yeah.
Yeah, to charge 70% because they haven't been allowed to use the changing facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what was the proposal is that we charge 70% of the original fee and give a 30% reduction. I think at one point it was. Yeah. At one point,
yeah. Originally, we thought it was to pay 30%, but yeah, it was the other way around.
No, 70%.
Yeah. So that's still the proposal that's currently under discussion.
Yeah.
And the justification, as I understand it, is fairly obvious, really, and the grounds that they haven't been able to use the full facilities, and therefore they've incurred extra costs due to Portaloo hire, etc., to facilitate what they do. And obviously, I guess they've had a reduction in income as well due to COVID, and they're seeking an opportunity.
They will have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think we can charge the full amount because they ain't had the use of all the facilities. The only issue is, will we get the same from the football teams because they haven't had use of the changing rooms either.
They don't get charged. There's a
Okay.
separate charge, no, and they haven't been charged for the changing
Okay,
rooms
all right.
at all. So we've already made that adjustment.
That's fine then. Thanks, Jan.
Then I'm happy with that reduction. Then I don't disagree.
I think it makes sense. I mean, I heard it said we're not a charity, but we're also not a business. And we have to work with our partners here. I think it's sensible. I agree with the proposal.
Okay. But does anyone object to this, or take that as approved?
Paul, do you think that's a fair amount off?
So is this the cricket?
He's not there.
Yeah,
It's just back.
that was the proposal that you put forward, Paul, wasn't it?
To knock off 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you-
right, yeah, I suggested it.
Yeah.
And the club were happy with that proposal. You didn't get any other councillors highlighting.
The club. I haven't said anything to the club other than I have to ask the council.
Right. So I think we're all in agreement. I think we need someone to propose and second.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I've got to abstain on that one or whatever it is.
Yeah. Anyone second Ian's proposal?
Katie?
Is that
I'm muted. I said I'll put my hand up.
okay? I think we're all for, and one abstention.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Item 12, approve installation of a bench outside the Field Library in memory of Roy Townsend.
I'm a bit confused by this. We already agreed to provide the bench in the previous meeting. So what exactly are we agreeing here? Because the only issue was the installation cost, and I think that's being borne by us. So what exactly are we agreeing to here that we haven't already agreed?
I thought we were waiting on West Berkshire Council to tell us whether we could do it or not.
We were, Stuart. So we'd already agreed in a previous meeting to finance up to, I think, £500, or possibly more. I thought it was 500. The provision of a bench. Then there was some issue around installation, getting West Berkshire's approval, which became complicated. And then there was a costing implication of the actual installation.
Yeah.
To this, the library service have gone to Englefield. So what I don't understand is what we're voting on that we haven't already agreed. Meeting.
No, I don't get it either.
You are agreeing whether you want to go ahead with this installation.
But
Oh yeah, I'm agreeing with it.
Yeah,
okay,
me too.
Okay, but we're not bearing the cost of the installation, are we? So why what gives? So I don't get what we're.
Because it's still something that the council are doing, so it needs your approval.
Okay, even though we've already agreed for the budget to supply the bench, so it's nothing to do with that. It's just us saying we're happy for someone else to pay to install it. Is that it?
Yes, and just to be mindful that it might be a smidgen over 500.
Okay.
With the plaque, not much.
All right. Yeah. Can I just clarify? The only other thing to say was that I'm here because I had a chat with Gary about this, and indeed Liz at the library a few times, because this has been another thing that deals. And that was not our fault, I might add. There's on here that it's going to be built over where there's some shrubbery. I believe that's not the case now. It's going to be built on some. I think Gary had planned to put onto the paving slabs close to the library, and that just probably needs tidying up here in this proposal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, the plan is no longer to do it around the shrubbery. and Liz at the library is happy with this, to do it on the concrete path just beneath the window.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify that. It does make it, on the bit I'm reading here, it still has the original proposal rather than the updated proposal. That's always just to clarify that.
The proposal on the screen is Jan's just quoted the original one, just to fill you.
Yeah, all I'm doing is just trying to make it more accurate, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it might just need some tweak there in the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is purely just to agree the installation, yeah?
Yeah.
And we've already agreed the costs. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'll second.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
Okay. Moving on then to 13, the approval of the replacement notice board on Field High Street. So,
I've got an issue with this. It's got Newtown Parish Council on the board.
subject to it saying Field Parish Council. Good technical point. Can we get thoughts or any concerns raised with that?
I don't think there's no concerns. I think it needs doing ASAP.
Yeah.
We've been on about it for donkey's years. It needs doing. Yeah, get it done.
Do you want to propose that, Stuart?
Yeah, I'll propose.
I'll second.
Any
Okay,
objection?
can I just make sure you do have this document about the proposal for the bench and the notice board?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
With the information about the lawful development certificate.
Could you talk us through that certificate?
You'll need to get a lawful development certificate. Well, you don't need to, but West Berks advises that you do for both the bench and the notice board. And the price is quoted in this paper. And as far as we're aware, it's the proposed use or operation option at the bottom. So it will be half of £234.
Yeah.
I say as far as we're aware because we've asked West Berks and Jan's been talking to them, but it's been quite difficult to get some solid information out of them.
The notice board is a replacement, isn't it? It's the one that's already there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why would there be a need for this?
So I didn't hear that.
If it was a new Parish Council board, there wasn't one there already, I would understand why we would need that document. But it's one that is there, so why do we need a new?
Well, this, as far as I can work out, this lawful development certificate is basically to say just what you've just said.
Sorry, there's someone building something at the moment.
Yeah, I think somebody's got background noise.
Everyone else.
The lawful development certificate basically says that we don't need planning permission. West Berkshire Council said for peace of mind, we should get one. But you've got to pay for this lawful development certificate.
Which is what? Half of 234.
Well, no, I think it's half of that. I think it's because it's a proposed use. I think it's 117.
Yeah.
I think.
That's not a problem, is it?
Well, you tell me.
If it makes it happen, let's just do it.
Yeah, I don't see it being a problem. We've been wanting a new notice board for years. If that's the easiest way of going about doing it, then I think we should do it.
Okey-doke.
Yeah, unless we got anything really to challenge that we don't need to pay for that certificate, then yeah, we should agree here that we'll pay that amount.
If it turns out that you don't need it, then so be it. But we're just giving you the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can authorize that maximum amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We either want a notice board and have to do that, or we don't want a notice board. But we have to, we need the notice board. We've been waiting for years, as Stuart said. It's just, I think.
You're already breaking up, Ian, but I think we get your point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Get it done.
Right. So I think, Stuart, are you still happy to propose and
Yeah, I'm
Clint
still happy
second that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else in agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. Very good. Okay. 14, to agree to fund 50% of Thiel Village Hall's replacement sewage pump on receipt of an invoice. I have no background to offer on this, so I don't know, Paul, if there's anything you can talk to on this one.
There's actually been a slight amendment to this since the agenda went out. To start with, apparently this has been a fairly standard thing for the council to fund half of the sewage pump maintenance, which is shared between the pavilion and Thiel Village Hall.
Yeah, we've done that all the time.
Yeah, that's what I understand. Since they got that replaced, the plinth underneath the pump has also had to be replaced. So that's an additional £740 for us to pay.
Okay. Well, if we have this agreement to pay half and we have sight of an invoice, I'm not sure what other options we have.
Are you all happy with that?
Yeah. Well, it's our sewage as well, and it's our pump as well.
So that will break an agreement.
So that's what it costs. It's what it costs.
Okay. So can we get a proposal for the amount on the agenda and the additional amount that Paul's referred to as well?
I'll propose it.
I'll second.
Okay. Anyone object?
I don't think we
Take
can.
that all as all approved.
We don't want sewage on the football pitches as well as like people.
I didn't get that, Katie. I don't know if it's my.
I said we don't want. We don't want sewage spilling out on the football pitches.
I can comment, but I won't.
Okay.
Don't.
Item 15. Part of the ongoing review of policies, we had the sickness absence policy and social media policy. Paul, were they new policies updated to date, or are they
the
any changes?
Social media, I don't have them in front of me. Social media, as far as I know, we had before, and sorry, that we've had both of them before, but the social media I've just added a bit, and that's
It's
the
been
track.
changed, hasn't it?
Did anyone have any comments on those policies at all?
I didn't, because I don't really do social media, so I got no interest in it.
Any other feedback or comments?
No.
Are we happy to have a proposal to approve?
I was just looking at it and I couldn't get back to Teams to try and unmute myself so I could speak. The only thing I've suggested this before, just for us to think about a social media presence of some kind as a council. I don't know what people's thoughts on that are. I know there's lots of.
I don't think we're allowed, are we?
No, I mean an official social media page like some other councils have got. It's just an idea. I don't know what the footfall is on the new website, Paul. Do you look at the stats?
Yes. I can tell you.
Whilst we got this policy as it is, Katie, if you were to choose to maybe make a proposal in future to review our social media presence, then we can easily update the policy
Yeah.
as that social media presence changes. So we're not committing to a year of being locked into what it currently is.
Okay, all right, cool. I can put that forward as something to discuss then at another meeting.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. Cool.
Thanks for that. But in their current formats, any other comments from anyone, or we have to approve both of those?
I'm happy for both of them.
Okay. Proposer and the seconder.
I'll second it.
Second.
Great.
Who proposed it?
I thought you did.
You
Oh, did I? Oh, that's all.
Okay, that's all fine.
All in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. And then the last one, to approve an increase in the charges to hire the Peter Gooch room and kitchen, match those of John Cumber Hall, £12 for ad hoc bookings, £10 for regular. What they currently pull?
£8
Right.
for everyone except for, and Jan will be able to correct me, I think it's £7 for cricket.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think there was interest mentioned, I think Zoe mentioned last meeting that we should review this, and it brings it in line with John Cumber Hall. That would seem reasonable to me.
Not that anybody's going to be using it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll stay in its new pristine state for a while.
When were they last reviewed, Paul?
I don't know. Quite a few years ago.
They're quite, even at the new price, it's quite a favourable price
Yeah, I agree.
compared to some halls and stuff. So
I just always think when you put a price up, you've got to justify it and try and find a reason to do it. It makes sense to me. Those prices haven't been looked at in years, and it seems reasonable to do so.
And you've had some work done, so it sort of coincides with that as well, doesn't it?
And there's nothing to stop us increasing it again in the future if we think it's reasonable as well. At least it brings them into parity for now.
Yeah, seems okay to me. Seems sensible, I think, at this point.
Are you proposing that then, Ian?
Do I have to be what the person who proposes putting prices up for everyone? There's meaning.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I'm happy to second that.
I think it seems sensible, so I don't mind the sensible.
Yeah.
It's not a lot either, is it? So to be fair.
So yeah, I'll second that. Everyone in agreement?
Yep.
Yeah, I am.
Great. Okay. I think that ends the meeting. Anything to add, Paul, at all?
No, I'll just stop the recording.
Thanks for chairing, Dan.
No worries. Thanks, everyone.